All right, I'm recording. So I showed you how to create a job in this one. I'm going to show you how to create a job in this one. I showed you how to key in points on this one. Video's up on YouTube. I suggest you watch it before Tuesday. All right. Morning section. Before you leave, I want your crew to pick a data collector and take it with you. And when you bring it back on Friday, you will have created your job and you will have keyed in your points, right? Your control points. That's what you're going to need come Tuesday to continue this survey. Okay? So you create the job. Do you have to create the job on the 26th? No, you've already created it, but the afternoon section will have your data logger. You have to switch jobs. You can't just add your stuff into somebody else's job. So every time you turn it on after you create it, you have to make sure you're in your job, right? Otherwise, you're going to call me and be like, I know we did the survey. Okay, which data logger was it? It's probably in the other group. So you have to switch jobs, okay? The other thing you're going to do is you're going to key in your control points so that you have them. And then for the next 2 weeks, the 19th and the 26th, I'm thinking that some groups will be done on Tuesday. Kudos to you. You can go and create your drawings. Right? If you need the second week, sometime between the 19th and the 26th, your field work needs to be done. Right? And you're going to be using these, and I'm going to show you how to use them. It's going to go faster than what this was. Right? The exam is on the 2nd, which is a Tuesday. You'll have the weekend to study for the exam. I'm not going to have anything due. I'm not going to have anything due with the exception of this report and plan. The final thing is going to be due on the 5th. Okay. And we're going to start talking between now and then about how to create a surface and how to create contours. Okay. All that's to come, but I need you guys taking notes so that you can kind of follow along with what's going on. All right. So morning section, one crew member is going to come up, pick a data collector, and then by Friday, you're going to bring it back with your job created and your points loaded. Friday, the afternoon group, you're going to pick a data collector. You're going to take it home over the weekend. You're going to create a separate job. Don't put your points in the morning group section. In the morning section's job, create a new job, enter your points in, so that the points are preloaded and ready to go for Wednesday. Does that make sense? Okay. Thanks. Now, I think creating a job and creating points in this style logger, I went over already. Do we need to revisit it? Everybody cool? Does anybody want me to go over it? All right. I'm not seeing any head guesses or what's that? Yeah. Does everybody know where the YouTube video log is? I have a log on Google Drive with all of the videos that I've done. You can also just go to my channel. It was the last one that I opened. Okay, we're good on this one. Let's talk about this one. Okay, this is a Trimble. This one is a TDS. These three are TDSs. These are called Nomads, and this one's called a Recon. These three run the same exact program. they look almost identical. Okay. This one looks different. Okay. Okay, now I have to go to advanced because we're advanced. Maybe, sort of. Dot camera, power on. Content from second, share. Ta-da. All right. And I'm going to focus mainly on the screen of this thing. So the power buttons, you should just be able to select the power button. Can everybody kind of see that okay? Reasonably well? Or is that better? What's that? Okay. There are two instruments that work with these loggers. These yellow top cons. Which lab crews used the Nikon instrument with the orange case? Not going to be able to use that with these data loggers. It's not one that's supported. Sorry. The other instrument that's downstairs, the Sokia, S-O-K-K-I-A, that one will talk to these. Okay. So you're either going to use one of these or the Sokia, not the Nikon. I put the Nikon back in the case, you know, the big glass case. The 4 data loggers and 4 instruments are going to be sitting there. Like the logger is going to be sitting on the instrument case that you should use. Don't flip them around because I'm going to configure them so you can, the instrument sees the data card. Okay. Does anybody know how electronic things communicate with one another? They use something called a baud rate parity. Okay. It's just settings that are inside both devices, but it's how they talk to one another. It's how they communicate. So that's kind of what I was doing to get this all set up. So if you want to create a new job in this data logger, go to files. So here's where you would say, open a job, open an existing job that you've already made, or create a new job. So I'm going to create a new job. Now be patient with these things because you're talking about 20-year-old technology. So sometimes there's like a second or so lag until this thing catches up to you. Okay. That better?
Yeah.
Okay. What do we want to call it? All right, I'm just going to call it test. Okay. Down on the keypad, there's a button for caps lock and all that fun stuff. You don't need to change any of this. Local site, US survey feed, it should be set to. Okay. You shouldn't have to mess around with any of this. So at that point, down here, you just hit enter. And then accept. Overwrite existing file. I've got an existing file in there called test. I'm going to say yes. If you see somebody else's job in there, you go overwrite file yes? Please don't. That wouldn't be cool. Sorry, you look like you had a question.
No, I was just gonna say that. Like,
So never do what I just did. Yeah. Anybody's parents go, do as I say, not as I do. No. Okay, so I've created a job. If it says there's an existing job with that name it something else. Okay. So now, under survey, is where you're going to actually physically start the survey. But you want to create points first, right? So, okay. See where it says key in right here in the middle? If you select key in, you can key in points, lines, arc. You're gonna key in points. Okay? Points. I'm gonna say point number 1. Right? So you've got code, northing, easting, elevation. And then is it a control point? These ones don't have that feature. Can you just call it a random point? Sure you can. But I'm gonna call it point 1. Then I'm gonna use the stylus and select the next item, which is the code. I'll write the code in. My northing is 5,000. 5,000. Why am I making it 5,000, 5,000? Yes, on all parts, but are your points going to be 5,000, 5,000? No, if your points are 5,000, 5,000, I have failed you miserably. Okay. What should your northing be close to? 500,000. I heard something.
Yeah.
And what should the easting be somewhat close to? 2.5 million. Am I anywhere close? So this is arbitrary just to show you how to do it. Okay. And I'm going to say it's control. Okay. Now down here, you see the option for store. I'm going to store it. And
So the point name is the point number that we gave it on pad. And
Correct.
the code is whatever.
correct, whatever the description.
So
Jules.
what is the control point? How does that do? Let me check out.
It just makes the little symbol there.
Okay.
So when I show you, like, there's actually in both loggers, a way to look at the map of what you're shooting as you're shooting it to see if it makes sense. What it's gonna do is for any control point, it's gonna make it a different symbol than all the other points.
So like it will like highlight like that's your next point or whatever. Okay.
It'll just make it look different.
Should you like check control point on all of them?
6 of one, half a dozen of another. Like if you want to see a different feature, a different node in the logger, you can do it. Do you have to do it? No, it's not going to affect your data collection or output or anything. It's more of a pretty picture.
When do we want data?
Down in the bottom here. So let's say I'm going to call this one 0.10. And so down in the lower right, you see where it says enter? If you hit enter. So most of the stuff in this one, you actually have to click down here twice. So you see where it says store, you have to hit enter and then store. So you got to click it twice. So you got to store it. So then store. Okay. Everyone okay with entering points in this? That's all you're going to do. However many points you have, 6, 8, 10. Now remember, if one of your control points was destroyed, you're going to have to reset it. Are you going to have to go back through and do everything that we did for this? No. All you're going to do is you're going to set up on one of your other points that's there, backside another one, set it, and then you're going to shoot this like a topo point, and I'm going to show you how to do that right now, and call it whatever the missing point number is. Or let's say the missing point is point number 5. You're going to set on a known point that's still there, backside a known point that's still there. And then you're going to create a new point and you're going to shoot it with this, and it's going to do the math for you. And it's going to do the math on every shot you take. Okay. The first step is creating the points. Is everybody okay with this step? Is anybody not okay with this step?
So that's just our points that we've already shot, not the ones. we don't
The ones that you did the report on. So your northings, eastings, and elevations for your traverse control, that's what you're putting in.
Should we put the mark in that?
it doesn't hurt, right? Let's say the first point you set up on, you go out and it's destroyed. If you have the benchmark there, you can actually physically occupy the benchmark or physically backside the benchmark. So is it necessary? You're kind of hoping that all your points are. If you go for a walk today and it's on your way back to your dorm and you're like, no, they're all there, then you don't really need it. My opinion is it's better to have more control in the controller than you need, because if you don't enter it, Murphy's Law states that the point's missing, I need that. Then you gotta go and get your report and find out where, you know, and then enter that point. I think it's just easier to do it. But is it absolutely necessary? Probably not. It went this way. The baby sleep. We're good? Any other questions? All right, let's take some shots. Okay, I've got my back sight back in the corner of the room. Okay. Like I said, this is old school technology. I'm going to be flipping back and forth between the white pad and so 9-pin serial port. Yay. Has an 8-track in it somewhere. There will be a cable for each one. These only connect one way, right? This goes to the instrument, this goes to the knob. Not a big deal. Plug one into the other. So I'm going to do this one first, and then we'll pick up on the other one. Okay, everybody close your eyes. Don't ever do that. Because you could accidentally slide it over the edge and then it falls. And that's bad. Plus, it will take the instrument out of level, and then you gotta put it back in level, and then you gotta redo your backside. You gotta, it's just a pain in the butt. Should have had somebody time me. Turn your instrument on, move the vertical control to wake it up so you get a vertical angle. Turn the angle. On your backside, yes, I want you to aim down at the ground and then bring the vertical up to the center of the prism. On all your side shots, just aim for the center of the prism, center of glass. On to the next one, center of glass, on to the next one, okay? Okay, so now you've got your points. They're preloaded into your data log. Pretend that I'm sitting on whatever control point you want, 1, 5, whatever. Okay. So now I'm going to go back to this. Okay. Okay, so now you've got all your points keyed in. Now you're actually going to go down to survey. See these upper fast static PPK, RTK infill? You're not going to use that in this class. Does anybody know what that stuff is? Has anybody ever heard the term RTK? It's GPS. Okay. RTK is real-time kinetic. And the other one is fast static, meaning you're standing still. Okay, you can set a GPS receiver to read every 3 or 5 seconds. You don't really need to know that. Survey, right? You would be dealing with these bottom ones. Okay. Do we have a 5600 or 3600 instrument here? What's my instrument? Does anybody see it? Is it the S series? Is it the Topcon? It's the Topcon, right? So select survey, select Topcon, and then this is going to think for a second. And then it'll bring up station setup. Does anybody see how that changed the station setup? So I'm going to click station setup. Now it's talking to the instrument. Everybody hear the beep? Okay, so it sees it. Okay. Here's where I was saying you could enter barometric pressure and temperature right here. Okay. So if the temperature is about 70 degrees, you could enter it. All right. Do you have to? I'm just going to say, yeah, it's 60 degrees. Okay, so accept. Now, this is important. This is where you tell it where you're at. Are you on point 1? Are you on point 2? So instrument point name, that is where the instrument is sitting on. Okay, I'm going to say that I'm sitting on point number 1. Everybody see that? If I hit enter, does everybody see how it auto filled in the hub and it gave me the coordinates? So if I just put the instrument number and hit enter, it gives me the information. Right? The only other thing I have to enter is my instrument height, because if I'm carrying elevations, I need the instrument height and the rod height. Right? If you change the rod height, I'm going to show you how to change the rod height at each point. Okay? You can change the rod height, like if you've got a tree in the way, raise it up. If you've got a tree in the way, you can see the ground. Flip the prism upside down and set the prism on the ground, and your rod height is 0.35 feet. Okay. Instrument height. I'm going to say it's 5.45. All right. Everybody knows how to measure the instrument height, right? Julie.
But did you put enter before putting in the instrument height?
Yep. So if you hit enter when you enter a point number, the logger is going to think for a second and it's going to retrieve that point. Okay. So we're going to hit enter a second time after we enter the instrument. Great question. Everybody with me? Okay. Enter. Now remember what I said. I hit enter. Now I have to hit accept. So this one, it makes you do stuff twice. Are you sure? Are you sure you want to do this? That's, yeah. So you hit enter, then you hit accept. Okay, so I hit enter. Now I'm going to accept. So now it knows that I'm on this point. Okay. Now you are going to enter a backside point number. You're going to tell it I'm backsighting point number 2. And then you're going to take the backside. For right now, what I'm going to do is say backside point 2. And we're going to call it a hub. We're going to give it a backside height of 5. And I'm just going to say my azimuth is 0 because I don't know. When you enter a point that's already in there, you're just going to hit enter, and it's just like occupying the instrument. It's going to go and find that point. I don't have a point for that. Does that make sense?
So you still put the backside right in after you hit enter first?
Yeah, you'll hit point number 2, and it's going to find it. Then you're going to enter your backside height. You're going to measure angle and distance. Okay.
Is backside height the elevation or the rod height?
The rod height.
Okay.
Backside height is rod height. Okay? So then you hit enter. See where it says angle and distance? You want it to check the angle and distance for you. Right? See the button down in the lower corner? I'm measured on the center of glass, hit measure. Hear it beeping? I don't even touch this. Got it. Horizontal angle, vertical angle, so. Sweet. Right. I don't have point number 2. All right. I'm going to hit store. I want to show you something. Store. You've already got point 2 in. What I essentially did was enter point 2 by measuring. So now, if I go in here, survey, I'm going to end. I'm going to go back in, TopCon, station setup. Look familiar? Except I'm on point 1. There it is. My instrument height, 545. Enter. Except, what am I backsighting? I'm backsighting point 2. Now watch what happens. Hit enter. Oh, it's there. I'm going to say my rod height is 5. Enter. Measure. Now watch what happens. This is what's going to happen for you, not close to screen. It will tell you what your error is between the 2 points. So okay, it will tell you the error difference in horizontal and vertical when you shoot it when it's 2 known points. Right? Make sense? Now, you've taken your back sight, you're going to shoot. I'm sorry, we were about to raise your hand.
I was just gonna ask if, so when we're doing that second point information, that, does that thing have to be leveled and pointed?
Yeah, everything's got to be leveled and ready to go. Yep. So now I've taken my back sight, I'm ready to take a whole bunch of topo shots. We call them either topo shots, side shots, something to that. Right? So you'll go around and shoot your building, shoot the sidewalk, shoot, you know, if there's a mound of landscaping, you shoot the top of the mound so you can see the contours for your little mound. If there's any question, just take a shot there. Like, you could have several hundred shots by the time you're done. Shoot the daylights at it, okay? Take as many observations as you can. So now, if I want to do a bunch of side shots, so what you're doing when you take a whole bunch of side shots is this measure topo. Okay? So measure topo, point name. All right, I'm going to call this point 103. Right, and I'm going to change the description. And let's pretend I'm shooting a building corner. We're measuring angles and distances. My rod height hasn't changed, right? So I'm going to hit enter, then I'm going to hit measure. The shot I go. Okay? You have to hit store. You have to hit store or it's not going to remember the shots that you're taking. You have to hit enter and you have to hit store. Right? After every shot, you can change the rod height between shots, right? Can't see it, raise the rod up to 7 feet. Raise the rod up to 7 feet, take the shot. Okay, I'm gonna lower the rod back down to 5. Like shot to shot, you can change that as many times as you need. If you forget to change your rod height, that's why you have the field book. Write down in the field book, shot number 103, rod height and data collector 7 foot should be 5.0. You can go and edit your elevations when you get back to the office. Make sense? Everybody with me on this?
What's the target one? Is that the
The
same?
rod height. Rod height and target height are the same thing. It's the height of the prism on the pole. And it says right on the side of the rod what it is. Okay. Everybody good? All right, I'm gonna stop there. Reason I'm gonna stop there is because we're gonna have time